Welcome to Back to Books with the M6P. I'm Jared, along with Darren, Alex, and Brad, and we're going to take you on a journey of Marvel's Civil War. We are, like we said, the M6P, and you can check us out at the-m6p.com on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the socials under the M6P. You can also check out themarvelousbox.com for a subscription service for Marvel graphic novels and trade paperbacks. And you can also check us out on TeePublic. Do a search for the M6P, where you get some cool swag from the M6P. And without further ado, Mr. Darren.
Alrighty, to start things off, I want to promote, I've already worn this shirt, so actually I'll be right back. Hold on, give me 1 second. Jared said he had a surprise for us. Well, I got one for him.
I almost wore the exact same shirt, so I'm really glad I didn't. That would have been so embarrassing.
Oh, you're gonna hate this one.
So while he's doing that, this is one of our newer designs. It's the X-Men 90s group. And what you got, Darren?
Well, I thought it was time for a shirted review on the M6P. So this is what I'm bringing to the table. You can't find this. We don't make this. I just wanted to wear it tonight.
A shirted review.
Alrighty, so
that is in reference to our new YouTube series called Shirtless Reviews that I started, and maybe Darren will be partaking in one day.
Okay. All right, on to the show. All right, so we are here to talk about Civil War. Really excited. So, man, was this like 2006 or 2008? When it? Yeah. Which one?
6.
All right, 6. Okay. So when that hit, this was like the first time, because I had just gotten out of college. I kind of, was learning my way in the world and whatnot. Didn't have any money for comic books. I started to get back into it. Started reading the Civil War, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I liked it because it was an easy read, but it was still good. I mean, I think it was a very easy read compared to a lot of the crossover events and whatnot. And just, I thought, like, I like the fact that, like, it wasn't tons of, like, bubbles and everything like that. I know some people can get into that, but I thought Mark Millar sold the story very, very well. So I don't know. What do you guys think overall? Just the first general assessment. What do you guys think? Anyone?
I'll go first. I think it was it was kind of a culmination of a lot of things that had been going on in the Marvel universe, and I really appreciated that, because I don't know, when you kind of age with comics, like I feel like they got more what's the word? I mean, this isn't what I want to say, but I'll say like more intelligent. Like this was the first event that I sat down and read that I was like, oh, I'm an adult reading comic books right now. Because before that it was just like, hey, there's 70 people on this page versus 70 people on this page, and they're all fighting each other for whatever. Like this was a real, like, there's political ramifications. There's I can actually see why people would go from this to that and stuff, and see both sides and stuff. So I really enjoyed reading it. I didn't read all the tie-ins while I was reading Civil War. I ended up reading most of them. I think I've read almost all of them at this point, but much later, as I went back and started to pick up full series that ran alongside. But I really enjoyed it. I really love Civil War, and I've read it many times. So
I remember when I got into it was I was in college, and a few of my like roommates and like friends and stuff like that, we had gone to a comic shop in Orlando, and what had just happened was like all the House of M stuff. So I was reading some of that when Civil War was then sort of starting to kick up, because Brubaker started doing Captain America, and I was lucky that when I was kind of getting into it, the comic shop guy was saying like, oh, so you like Daredevil, you like this, you should try Captain America. And it was in the bit of that like Winter Soldier stuff. It was a really, for me, it was just great because it's nostalgic. Like it was getting back into to Marvel Comics, because I'd read as a kid and then stopped probably in like middle high school or something like that. and not like completely, but just fickle, you know, like wasn't really following any serious titles. But it was just an exciting time in general, I think, for the comics. And that event was so good because it opened up so many different titles. Like I was all of a sudden way more interested in like Moon Knight. Like I wanted to read about Moon Knight because I knew there was like these cool little tie-ins with Punisher or Spider-Man and stuff like that. All these events were happening where you were finding out where all these outside like the Marvel pantheon, like the lunchbox Marvel characters, you know, like I was finding out where the ones that aren't on the lunchbox are and what they're doing. I heard little bits about him in like my youth, but now I was like, oh yeah, Moon Knight, that's that guy who like it's like some sort of mercenary who likes Egyptian stuff. So it was just like it was a cool way to get into all the titles. And like you said, Civil War was just such an easy read that when that happened, then me and those like peers, we kind of divvied up the titles where I wasn't reading everything, but like we got to hear a bit about like what big moments happened, like in Spider-Man or in X-Men, or like the Frontline book was surprisingly like interesting for me, where I was like, what are we reading about? A journalist? This is weird.
Yeah, I gotta echo both of what you said, because Brad, like, we're about the same age. All four of us are about the same age, so we're all kind of in the same spot when Civil War came out, and it did feel like it was a movement from my characters of the youth to my characters, like they're growing with me. You know, I think it kind of started with Grant Morrison's New X-Men, because it was like, whoa, these are not the cartoons that I watched. They're like saying bad words and they're not wearing a lot of clothes, and the clothes they are wearing is black leather. Like, what's up? And then also Straczynski's Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, that was also running kind of concurrent. Like, wow, okay, these are not my Saturday morning cartoons, but they didn't feel like it was like it wasn't not Spider-Man or it wasn't not the X-Men. It just seemed like a natural progression of growth. And Civil War did that. Like I remember reading Age of Apocalypse and Onslaught and all the 90s stuff, and I knew that they had ramifications and what happened mattered. But reading Civil War, it was like issue to issue, it seemed nitty gritty, and it seemed like whatever was going to happen was going to really rock the foundation. It wasn't every crossover like Marvel does now, where it's going to change the Marvel universe forever. This legit felt like that. And I can remember this was the first series that I was genuinely upset because it had such terrible production delays. The issues were so pushed back. They were supposed to be monthly. And I remember the issue that was supposed to come out in November didn't come out until like January. But I needed that fix. Secret Invasion was like that for me too. But I just needed that fix, as opposed to the previous, I read everything Marvel, and I was like, yeah, I'll pick it up on Wednesdays when I can. But Civil War, what do you mean it's not going to be here this Wednesday? Why isn't it in my file and the artist isn't done drawing it? What do you mean? I'm going to have to, boycott this comic book store. So that's what I have to say about that. And like what Alex said though too, this was not a series where you read the seven issues and you're okay at the end. Like, oh, okay. No, I needed to follow Wolverine chasing Nitro down, and I needed to know what's going on. And I need to get into the prison and find out who's in the prison and who's not in the prison. And I can only do that if I read all 78,000 titles.
Yeah, the stakes seemed high enough to merit that sort of investment. Like me not reading whatever book my roommate was getting was fine when you started, but then I'm like, let me see what happened. Like what's happening here? Because I think I was reading Civil War, and I think one of the guys was reading Spider-Man, which was just excellent. And then I also had the X-Men book, and the Wolverine book was fantastic. That's what, it wasn't X-Men, it was Wolverine. And watching him hunting Namor to Nitro all the way to Atlantis, like it was just a fun. I was sitting there like getting back into it and still sort of being new to jumping back in. It reopened the world again of like how far this goes. And the stakes were what was different, was same. It just felt like, oh, there's something serious happening here that, I mean, Peter taking his mask off is a big deal, like that
Well,
changed a lot
even
of things.
even with even in House of M, like you mentioned, things were going haywire and stuff, but this is just an alternate reality,
It resets almost. Yeah.
Right. And so I remember the moment that I was like, so, like you mentioned, Onslaught, all the '90s events and stuff, and these characters are decimating cities and like leaving craters everywhere and stuff. I never cared about that. I never gave that a second thought. And then I remember it's not really like an earth-shattering moment or anything, but I remember when I realized that's a big deal. So Iron
When they
Man,
actually had blowing up a school is bad. You're like,
right,
yeah,
right.
it
Well,
is.
but that was a bad guy though. That was a bad guy,
Exactly.
right?
But like,
So
it
so
actually had
when
ramifications.
so Iron Man lures Cap and his team to this place, right? I don't know how we get into a review of it. I don't want to, get ahead of ourselves. But like Iron Man lures Cap and his team to this place, and he traps him there and stuff. And people start fighting and whatever, and they're trying. I think Maria Hill's going to try and trap them all in the negative zone or something like that. And before she can, Cloak brings everyone back to New York City, and they just fall out of this portal, and they just start fighting again. And I remember seeing the buildings and stuff caving in. I was like, don't do that. They're going to get in trouble, Like that I'd never cared before that moment. And I that stuck with me for a long time. I remember that.
Well, and think of what that's done too. Like that idea of I now realize there's stakes, because the whole premise of the book, I mean, like I think it was like before Civil War, like in Spider-Man and all that, when the rumblings of it are happening, like in the government and all that stuff, they're quoting like that. I don't know which book it is, but there's that book where Stark is saying, they're saying the cost it is for superhero fights, what it costs us. And then he says, well, I got a number for you, 47 or 43 or something like that. It's the amount of times they've like saved the whole world from annihilation or whatever. And I'm like, right, we've only just been watching like, well, save the world. But somebody said, oh no, all those buildings fell down and like people got hurt. And you're like, right. Which has become like the big difference between like Marvel and DC movies early on. I remember like how big of a deal it was that Marvel movies had heroes helping people off of a bus. DC had people being punched through buildings, and nobody cares.
All right, awesome. So kind of to tie in with what you all were talking about, let's talk about some of those Marvel tie-ins, because you guys all said I love the Spider-Man tie-ins. And I remember going to the comic shop every week and checking my file on Wednesday because I wanted anything related to Civil War. So I was reading them all. I tried to. I still haven't read them all, but I read most of them. But Spider-Man and Wolverine, those two really stuck out to me. I mean, the whole fact that I loved how Civil War, and again, to go back how, this was heroes we grew up with, and we're feeling like we're growing with them. It was very much a product of its time. It starts off like that with a reality show by the Young Avengers, which causes pretty much all of this, or at least sets everything off. And then immediately everybody starts debating which side's a good side, which side's a bad side. Out of nowhere, and this is why I liked the Wolverine tie-in, is he's just like, Nitro's the one that blew up this whole block. Why are you all fighting? I'm gonna go get this guy. And he went after him. He went hard after that guy, and that was his singular focus. I remember at one of the panels, Nitro actually blows up, and with Wolverine next to him, and in the panel it's like Wolverine's a skeleton, I believe, and he just regenerates back from it. He's just talking. Oh, the whole dialogue of that scene was amazing. And he comes back, and well, Nitro was. I wouldn't want the Wolverine hunting me. I'll tell you that much. So I don't know. What were you guys' favorite tie-ins? Are there any? And again, I'm sorry. I like Spider-Man because that really tie-in build up to him deciding to finally, in the main Civil War issue, reveal his identity and kind of the turmoil and the inner struggle he had with doing that. But what tie-ins did you guys enjoy? Anything stick out particularly?
apart from the two you mentioned, which were just, I think I agree, they were my favorites. The Captain America stuff was still excellent. I was admittedly like already into like that was how I was kind of got into Civil War, was through Brubaker's stuff. Like I was really fascinated by this turn that Brubaker had taken, where he was kind of disenchanted and was struggling with like whether what he was doing was doing anything. He wasn't pulling his punches as much. The Bucky Winter Soldier thing had happened. It was awesome. And then this was great because it was just this wrestling with the difference between sort of like this perfect ideology he has, this idea of like this perfect reality where all these things are done correctly and rightly, and no one's going to tell anybody who to go after or who not to go after if they registered. But then him also just coming to grips with like the difference between perfect and good, like it was a good story. It was a good story in general. I don't remember if it was him or I don't know if it was in that book where does he fight Frank Castle for a little bit, like, or Frank Castle shows up, like joins up. Was that in the Civil War book?
Yeah.
Or okay.
He joins up in the Civil War main books. Yeah, I'm sure he's probably in a couple of the tie-ins, but I can't think of any right off.
Yeah, that sort of like introduction was excellent. But I just like Cap kind of coming to grips with like, oh, cool, I'm attracting Frank Castle to my side. That's
yeah, right.
that's
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
I need to think about this for a second. Frank Castle's like, I like what you're up to, Cap. And he's like, you do? Oh no. Like that's maybe bad.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, well, we better let him help us because he can get us into the Baxter building. And then that was a crap.
He's great.
That worked out well.
But
That
it was
that's
just
one of the
this,
only times that I've ever enjoyed the Punisher. I'm not a fan of Punisher,
Yeah.
but like
I'm
Cap's
saying,
like
it's not
sitting
like
there
he's great, but I
slugging
just-
him in the face, and he's like, "Fight back!" And he's like, "Never, I'll never punch you."
That was
Captain
great.
America."
Yeah, that was
Never.
great. Never. And
Yeah,
they tie
that-
into the fact that Frank was a Vietnam vet, and then Cap's the vet, and that was awesome. Yeah.
well, and it was the thing that led up to that was like as again, Cap is accruing like people on his side, allies, and it's like, here's a group of villains that agree with you, Cap, and he's like, cool. And Punisher's like, no, Cap, I'll kill him. Don't worry. Don't even fret. Just I'll murder them all. And I'm like, wow. Like that was another example though of like the stakes that I just don't recall being in my youth reading the book. Like there were that kind of high stakes for that, like, oh, he just killed like 7 known bad guys in the rogues gallery of like Marvel Knights.
I mean, Jester had it coming. Like Jester had it coming in Civil War, and the other Jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, well, sorry, you're beating up
Well,
Spider-Man,
Ben,
and Frank Castle shows up.
You shouldn't have sided with Cap. Frank's there.
Yeah.
And then I found that it made I liked the Captain America book, like you said. I also like the Iron Man tie-off. I mean, the whole story was about Captain America and Iron Man. So I definitely like those two side books because it fleshed things out a little bit. And then on the other side of that, like Iron Man, look at who's on your side. All the villains, like not all the villains, but I would say like 75% of the villains are on your side, and you're using these people that are villains, but because they registered, are now okay to go and hunt down people that you were having dinner with last week. Like
Right.
I really like that. Like as a kid, I didn't see it as much, but now as a grown-up, like, oh, this is like, it's serious. And if you look at the reviews of Civil War in 2006 when it came out, people were like, it's good, it's not bad. Like I think IGN, like they compiled all the reviews and it came to like a 6.5 out of 10 at that time. But now, today, people rank Civil War like top 5 stories. So it's definitely, I think, grown with the reader in that now everyone appreciates it. I sell comic books like at comic book conventions, and we sell graphic novels, and every show, Civil War always sells. It always sells out. I never leave with a copy of Civil War. And so what a standing for that story to be, almost 15 years later, and everybody loves it. We were talking about the side titles. I really like the Black Panther because as well, I mean, Storm was in it, so I like that. But I liked it that Black Panther had like an almost third party approach because he's like the president of, he's running Wakanda.
Yeah,
And
like the X-Men.
yeah, so how does this affect, you know, me as a superhero when I'm in New York, but then is it worldwide? And like all the things weren't really fleshed out. So I like that title. And just to get a little negative, but not too much, I feel like the X-Men really were the least interesting titles during this time. You know, they were going through the 198 where like everyone lost their powers, but 198 mutants. And so they were like, you know, the Sentinels were watching them, and it was like they were living in tents on the yard of the X Mansion. And they just kept going, like, for their whole side story, they just kept going back and forth with, should we be on this side, should we be on that side? And other X-Men were like,
I think it was
deuces, we're picking what we're gonna do.
I think it was kind of just, and I'll let you continue.
No, that's it.
So I think it was Cyclops that was talking to Iron Man or something, and basically he's like, "Hey, listen, we're staying out of it. So as long as you don't bother us, you won't have to contend with all the X-Men." And I was like, "That's kind of a cheap way to not have to deal with this." You know, like I want to know what's going on with the X-Men.
It was
funny
Emma
you brought
Frost that had that conversation with Tony Stark. Actually,
Oh, okay.
they're sitting
Gotcha.
down. That was actually one of my favorite moments. And remember why I like Emma Frost, right? But no, I thought that was one of her best moments, and really, that's her only moment in that series, in the main, of course, Civil War. And that could have, I mean, that really kind of changed how the whole series would go after she was just like, no, we're not getting involved. And maybe some view it as a cop out, and it probably could have been, because look what happens later on. Like, you know, Black Panther and Storm just want to stay out of it. But as soon as Goliath gets killed by that cyborg freak Thor, like Black Panther's like, I mean, when you read that, he's like, basically like, I shouldn't have stayed out of it. Like, this would not have happened. And I really like, there's a lot of the main heroes, those X-Men and everybody else, that were really like just staying out of it. Like, and it's like, well, they regretted doing it, I think, eventually, because of how the tone went and stuff. But it was so cool to see. I loved Black Panther in Civil War, even though he wasn't in it a lot. And when he shows up with Storm, that was great. So, because you're just like, oh, Cap just got Black Panther and Storm, because all this series was about numbers. They even allude to that where they're like, oh, well, we just lost this guy, we better go get, you know, yada yada, or hey, we can get the Thunderbolts. It's just like, it was so political, like, oh, numbers win. And I feel like you know, we haven't got to that point, but at the end, nobody won, really. But
Well, it was funny, Jared, when you brought up the X-Men and the front yard of the X Mansion. I'm curious. You have the book behind you, I think, of this Civil War X-Men. I swear, every image I can remember of X-Men Civil War is either Bishop or Cyclops in the front yard talking over like the hood of a car, or near a ditch in their front yard. Like, I have no like serious memories of what happened, because that's why I said, I'm like, oh, I read X-Men. No, I don't think I did. I think it was just Wolverine, because if you open that book, my guess is you find a front yard conversation over like a Jeep. Like it
just wasn't good.
Yeah, I don't remember anything exciting happening.
And it wasn't a lot of it wasn't, you know, Colossus and Nightcrawler and Rogue and Gambit. It was Caliban and Domino and Agent X and Bishop, and you know, like, oh, okay, an Angel. He's
an Angel, yes.
You know, like Micromax. Sweet.
yeah.
Who doesn't want to read about Micromax?
Right.
This guy.
Right.
So
yeah, that one I had a hard time with, but I just, when you brought up I forgot about the 198 and that they were in the front yard for a good amount of that book.
Did you guys find it kind of weird that in the main Civil War series, like at the beginning, right after the Emma Frost discussion, which I had just mentioned, like, and then they show Bishop talking like, oh, like, come talk to me or something like that, and that's it. And then later on, you see him getting just his face smashed or something. I forget who did it, but anyway, like, that just seems, some of the tie-ins, that's a little bit of a beef. It's like, yeah, back to our point, if you weren't reading, I'm sorry, the main series, if you weren't reading the tie-ins, then a lot of this could be, I mean, even though it was a good main series, some of it would be like, well, wait, what's going on here? And maybe that's a good aspect. and why we liked it so much, and then it got us to read more books, or I don't know.
That's what it did for me. Was, I mean, I think trying to read the main book, I think as the main book itself is great. It's a good,
Yeah,
it's a good story. It just adds a lot more like weight to the decisions and like the understanding of who's on what team,
mhm.
like it fleshes out why they're there and what they're fighting for, so that when you do get the negative zone betrayal, like
Oh.
you get these cool things in there that you're like, oh, all right, this is great. This is great. Like you can already see who's going to be there. Who's been arrested from reading Thunderbolts and all those other things. Who are getting nabbed, and then when they're let out, you're like, oh, I think Cap's going to dunk on Iron Man. Like I think it's happening right now. The strategist is going to win.
Yeah, it was so great. All righty, so yeah, moving on. We've really actually covered quite a bit of the whole series so far, the tie-ins and everything. And so let's talk
real
about
quick, my favorite
yeah.
my favorite tie-ins, Captain America, obviously. I also really like the new Avengers book from start to finish.
Yes.
And the Civil War tie from that was great. And then also Thunderbolts, was a huge Thunderbolts fan. And just the interaction between Songbird and Norman Osborn, because the Thunderbolts don't really get to choose a side, like they're told what side they're on, and they just kind of have to go with the flow because they're kind of on a leash, so to speak. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So but
I agree. Thunderbolts was fantastic. I ended up reading that for a while because of Civil War.
Great to hear. All righty, so then yeah, all right, the ending for me, this is probably one of the great, like, wow, that ending, Cap just throwing down a shield. But I think, like, so he's looking around, he's just like, we're just keep fighting, people are dying, heroes are dying. Back to the numbers and all the media's everything, like, oh, these numbers are going up and increasing. And then it's just like, it's like right when Cap has I mean, he's got the advantage, him and his team, and he just puts his shield down. He's done. And then he lets them he lets them take Steve Rogers, not Captain America, but Steve Rogers into custody. I was like, I instantly thought of the movie Chinatown. I don't know if anybody's with Jack Nicholson and how that movie ends. And it's just like, is there any real winner? What's going on here? And I think that was the biggest struggle for me, is like, which side really won? Or what was it about, a side winning, or was it about something completely different that apparently Captain America saw that no one else didn't?
I think that because at the beginning, Cap has that fight with Maria Hill, and he's like, "You're asking me to arrest people who put their lives on the line every day." She says, "No, I'm asking you to obey the will of the American people."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, forget that. But in this moment, again, when they're dropped back in the city and they're destroying everything and people are jumping on Captain America to save Iron Man, he realizes, oh, this is actually what America wants, or at least it's what they think they want right now. And I can't go about it like this if I want to change it,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
As I was doing research for the trivia, the original ending of Civil War was supposed to be very open-ended, and no winner was supposed to be decided. And somehow Joss Whedon got a hold of the script and told Marvel there has to be a definitive winner. And so that was part of the delay, is that they needed somebody to win, and they went with Iron Man winning and Captain America not. Just kind of interesting, because that was 2006. There was no movies, there was nothing like that, but he was kind of a big deal with doing Astonishing X-Men and everything.
I always thought the way that it ended was great, just because so Cap wins. So what? Like, how do you unring that bell? Like, I think if they would have done that ending that you're talking about, that would have stunk out loud, because it'd be more of the same. Whereas what we got from that was initiative. We got like all sorts of fun, like new characters. You had new power dynamics, Cap's assassination, like so much good stuff came of that, where when it happened, I was like, of course Cap was going to back down. He's not going to punch people he knows he can't punch people better. You know, he's smarter than that.
Yeah, I think it was a lot about too him picking and choosing his battles because he is a strategist. He's like, this is a battle I can't win ultimately. Like with oh man, that was tough. He fought. He got the snot knocked out of him that whole series.
So I guess
Yeah, it
the
was
thing
good, I
for
think.
me
Yeah.
with the only thing like with Civil War was I remember when this came out and I was like, this would be a great like Marvel cartoon movie to watch in the vein of like the Ultimates that they were doing. And so then when they announced it was going to be the movie, I'm like, yes, Civil War. And then I saw Civil War, and while I enjoyed it thoroughly, looking at the airport scene and seeing like 7 people versus 7 people, and looking at the series and not getting Cloak dropping all my favorite heroes, like I would have been happy to for 45 minutes to watch everyone in the Marvel universe kick the snot out of each other. That would have just been a fanboy's dream.
Oh wow, I like that.
I'm the opposite effect on me when I heard they were making Civil War. I was like, there's no way. It'd have to be like 5 movies, you know.
Yeah.
Plus, it's not even an Avengers movie. It's just a Captain America movie. Like, you know.
I mean, let's be honest. They called it Civil War. I mean, even though it ties into certain elements, the struggle between Cap and Iron Man, they called it Civil War because they knew the fan base was going to be like, "Oh wow, Civil War, yeah." And I agree with you, Jared. What I was thinking about this earlier, and I actually really, really enjoy that movie. It's one of my top Marvel movies by far. But it is not the Civil War that I read by any stretch of the imagination.
No, but I'm the same. Like, I think that's one of my favorite. That I like all of the later like Cat movies. They've been great. But yeah, I think it would have been. I mean, you couldn't do it at the time. There just wasn't. But I think capitalizing on the title, but also I think on just like what the comic did in terms of changing the stakes, making the stakes more meaningful. I think it was really good. The MCU being like its own sort of universe in itself, a different version of it, did that same thing where the stakes all of a sudden changed, where you could get heroes arrested, introduction of Black Panther, all that stuff happened there. Like they grew the universe, just like I felt like Civil War grew the universe for me, like made them more interconnected at that time, like where I was kind of getting back into books, but at the same time made everything kind of meaningful. It made Bucky's turn more powerful as well. Like when you put those personal I mean, it did this. I feel like it did the same things that comic did. It just, I don't know what movie's going to have the same sort of like razzle dazzle of what you could draw on a,
Yeah.
2-page spread like that,
And that's why the comics are superior to the movies.
Sure.
Back to books.
Back to books, our second. So we did the first one with Coughlin and Scott, and we're like, oh, this is going to be a regular thing. About 7 or 8 months later, here's episode 2. So thank you both. We actually are going to do the Acolytes too. We've got Joe Martin and Jason Sheldon lined up to do that one. So that'll be a fun one. So yeah. Awesome. Good
I have
stuff.
a question I'd like to ask if I could.
Sure.
Like, I was curious, this isn't even something that I've thought about for myself just yet. Just in the vein of adding another thing before we do trivia or whatever. What are you guys like favorite moments from the event? Like something that really knocked your socks off or made it to where this is why this is one of my top events,
Man, there's so many. The Emma Frost discussion where she basically, as I mentioned earlier, tells Tony no. When they're all falling, like they get saved and they're just all falling down. And like, everybody grab a flyer. Or
Yeah.
The Frank Castle stuff.
That was a great line.
I really just liked Frank Castle's cameo in this series, and I thought there's a lot going on with his cameo that we could probably discuss in its own show, but another time. And then Cap just, when he realizes it, like, it's not worth it, I'm done. Like,
I think it was, for me, Cap versus Spider-Man, when Spider-Man is
Yes.
talking about like that he's actually in like an adversarial relationship with Captain America, and he comments on like, I think the way they wrote it was like, and he threw the symbol of the whole freaking free world at me, and it came
Right.
like he just was so like he was struck by the shield being chucked at him because he had, I mean, he essentially picked a fight with Captain America. The Cap was even like,
Mhm.
nah, don't. And he's like, well, I have to. And I love that then that did get a moment then in the movie too, where we get that great like interception of the shield by Underoos. I was like, see, they liked it too. I like that bit. There's something
Yeah.
about that whole like
Well,
that Peter's fanboying over what would be like the greatest hero of their time, you know. And he's like, oh, and I'm fighting him. And that was sort of part of his turn in general, was just like, yeah, should we be punching each other?
Yeah.
yeah, I love
Dichotomy there.
I actually got excited and was poking my wife when we were seeing, and I poking her shoulder in the movie when we were watching it, and he says, actually, Peggy's niece, what's her
yeah.
name?
Sharon.
She said,
Sharon Carter.
she says, plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth. I was like, Captain America says that. Captain America says that.
Yeah.
You move. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right.
All right,
And
guys.
Alex, well, Alex, I think that brings up it's an interesting dichotomy in that Captain America was Peter Parker's hero, but he's like, I'm going to fight you. And Frank Castle is like, you're my hero. I'm not fighting you. And
Mhm.
you would think it would be switched. That Punisher would just like take him down,
Right.
and Spider-Man would be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just, I did not hit the jackpot with this, Tiger, but it was totally swapped out, but it made sense.
Well, and I love
he
that
wrote
that
it.
like that's the beginning of Peter's sort of like shift, is he starts realizing that, one of the main reasons, even it doesn't say one of the main reasons Tony wanted him on the team was his spider sense, like what he offers him in terms of like that just little bit of precognition of knowing something's about to happen. And just, I think he felt it like, I've been manipulated through all of this. I've risked the safety of my loved ones, which is like something I've always consistently been about and never took my mask off. But I'm doing this for Tony, of course. And I'm fighting Cap for Tony, of course. Oh, and Tony wants me here because Tony wants my power.
Yeah.
Tony wants the symbol. And Tony it was a good series of things, but I love that it starts with him kind of just coming face to face with that. The symbol of the free world was getting chucked at him.
I love anything that shows the intelligence of Peter Parker,
Yes.
because I don't I get in trouble for saying this around some of my buddies, but like, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I can't accept anyone else as Spider-Man, and it's because, you've got the development of the web fluid and the web shooters and the spider tracers and all that stuff. Like, that's Peter Parker. He did those things. And I love the part where he's fighting, like Iron Man's like, well, I'm sorry that you made this decision, Peter. And they start fighting, and Iron Man activates some kind of paralysis thing in the new suit or whatever. And Peter's like, oh, I knew that was there, and he just deactivates it. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, like I just love when Peter Parker gets to show that he's on that level. Like that was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, they really don't play up like how intelligent Peter Parker is these days, and like especially sure, Tom Holland's a good student and he's on that the academia trivia team or whatever, but like they don't play up like how his how his intelligence plays in to who Spider-Man is, in my opinion. And
Well, Civil War probably did it the best though, because when he's introduced in that like the little exchange he has with Tony is Tony's recognizing like, this is really impressive.
Yeah, he's talking about the tensile strength. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I would say for me, probably my favorite was Captain America and Maria Hill talking on the airplane and just going back and forth. And they both had really good points, but ultimately Cap just wasn't backing down. And then she just straight up goes for him and
Yeah.
sends the Cape Killers after him. And what's interesting is that in that point of the story, the Superhero Registration Act is not law. It's just they're just
Right.
discussing it, and she's just like, I see some modern similarities to how things work. It's like, law or not, we're just gonna do this. You know, who cares?
It's 84 in a comic book.
And you know, Cap gave her plenty of chance. He's like, don't do this. I'm warning you, don't do this. And they've got all those guns. And he's like, all right, boom, they're all done. And then he just escape. And I love it. So great. All righty. And with that, how about some Marvel trivia?
So this is some Civil War Marvel trivia. We're gonna be taking a look at the book and maybe some side stories. So we'll see how much you've read, and then maybe a couple questions that filter that are related to Civil War. So it should be good. Just raise your hand if you think you've got the answer, and as well keep track of your own score. Every answer correct is worth 1 point. All right. It would later be revealed that Nitro had boosted his power using Alex.
Mutant growth hormone.
Yes, sir. 1 point.
MGH.
Yes, good stuff. All right. Spider-Man reveals his secret identity as Peter Parker to the entire world during a meeting in front of this body. In front of
I know
Congress.
What?
Congress. He's in front of
You're
Congress.
gonna let us think a little bit longer than that.
Oh,
We need to know what we're going, Jared.
I'm trying. I hate dead air.
All right.
All right. In J. Jonah Jameson's office, newspapers on the wall were taken from these 2 real-world movies. This is a pretty tight Easter egg. These 2 real-world movies. All right, you have to go back and check it out. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 films.
Oh, cool.
You have to go back there and check out those newspaper strips on his wall. I didn't say these would be easy.
I guess not.
All right. Tony Stark replaces who as director of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Darren.
Nick Fury? Oh, Maria Hill.
Oh,
Dang it. Happens every time. All right.
you could have let someone else answer.
Oh.
Maria Hill. She was demoted to the deputy director. All right. This video game was based on the comic book Civil War event. Bradley.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Man, did I
My
love
son
that.
has
That's a
clocked
good
more
game.
hours in that game than
That's a good game.
So good. Oh my gosh, love that game. All right. What city and state did the New Warriors fight Nitro, Cobalt, Speed Freak, and Coldheart? City and state.
Oh,
It's gonna drive us all nuts.
I don't know if Alex is waving to
no,
me.
I only know the state.
Yeah, I want to guess the state, and I don't want any points. Like, I just want to know if it's the right state. Is it New Jersey?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hampshire.
What?
It's New Hampshire, right?
No.
No?
Brad, you want to guess an eastern state?
I don't remember.
All right. It was Stamford, Connecticut.
There you go.
Yeah. I feel like we should give out points just for spelling Connecticut. Like that could be a whole episode right there. Why? But we won't. All right. Easy one. Who
We're
designed
talking at
Spider-Man?
1, I think. 1 point. So
What?
Yeah, it's the scores are Alex with 1, Brad with 1, and I have 0. All right, on to the
we're
next.
doing great. We're doing great.
All right. Who designed Spider-Man's new suit? Brad.
Oh, I had it.
What's that?
Iron Man.
Iron Man. See, some of them are easy. Okay. Which hero is Iron Fist posing as? Bradley.
Daredevil.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Name the character that the Thor clone kills. Darren.
Goliath.
Goliath.
Finally, a point.
Yes.
Alrighty.
That was my first introduction to him. I did not know that character until he was dead. I felt terrible.
Yeah, he was a good character too, and they just, all right, see ya. You're the sacrificial lamb. Alrighty.
All right, we talked about this one earlier. So after Spider-Man switches sides, which two Thunderbolts attack him? Darren.
Jack-o'-lantern and the Jester.
Excellent.
Remember the
All right. What's the name of the prison developed by Iron Man, Yellow Jacket, and Darren?
42.
42. 42. All right, one page done. Now, who is the warden of 42? Alex.
Hank Pym.
No. This was in an offshoot book. Captain Marvel, the male Captain Marvel.
That's right.
I would not have got that.
I never knew that.
All right, this is a longer answer, and you have to know all the components. Name the roster of the Illuminati during Civil War. Brad.
During Civil War. So Professor Xavier, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Black Panther, and
Sorry, that is incorrect.
uh,
I'm sorry. Black Panther was not on the Illuminati at that
Crud.
time. All right, anybody
Okay,
else?
I'll take a stab. I'll take a stab.
All right, Darren.
Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, Reed Richards, Iron Man, and Xavier.
You have one more.
Submariner.
Yes.
Boom!
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, I
Excellent.
can't believe you got that. Wow.
All right. Name the member of the Fantastic Four that was neutral.
Wait.
Alex.
Was it Sue?
Nope.
No.
Darren.
You said neutral. Ben Grimm, the Thing.
Yes. The
Ah,
Thing chose to go to France to not be a part of the conflict, and then when he saw what was happening, he came back. All right. Now, speaking of neutral, name the two members of the Illuminati that were neutral during Civil War. Darren.
I might be wrong on the second because he does come in at the end to help, but is it Black Bolt and Submariner?
Submariner is one.
Just
Brad?
I'm
Oh,
gonna
no,
say,
wait.
I'm gonna say that because of the state of the X-Men, it was Xavier.
All the trivia that I looked up said it was Submariner and Doctor Strange. That they
Oh
were
yeah,
the
Doctor
two that
Strange.
were-
I forgot about that. He did stay out of it. Yeah, because he was talking to the
That
Watcher.
was kind of,
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think that was probably one that was open to interpretation. So we'll just scrap that one off the board.
Yeah.
What's the name of Thor's clone? Brad.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Yes. Okay. What villain did Iron Man hire to attack him immediately after his testimony for the Commission on Superhuman Activities?
Can you repeat that question? You got jittery there for a second.
What villain did Iron Man hire to attack him immediately after his testimony for the Commission on Superhuman Activities? He set this up to help his cause.
Oh man.
Alex.
Titanium Man.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Titanium
Well
Man.
done, sir.
Yes.
Nice.
All right. Who wrote Civil War? Brad.
Mark Millar.
Yeah, that was
Miller.
tough. You guys got some
That's
Quicksilver
cool.
arms. All right. Who drew Civil War? Brad.
Steve McNiven.
Steve McNiven. And did he draw that? Oh my gosh, he drew that.
Good
All
one.
right. So here's a recap on the scores. Alex, you have 2. Brad, with that, is now at 5, and I am at 5. So let's go.
Oh dang.
Not over. All right. This character sued Spider-Man after his identity was revealed. Brad.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Good. Yep. Speedball's power and identity are changed to what, Brad?
He has to endure pain and suffering to use his powers.
They are changed to what? Oh, Alex?
Yeah, it's penance, and it's all those spikes are in him now, where he wears that spike suit.
Yeah, the question was going to be changed to what character?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you said his power.
You didn't let me finish the question.
Well, let me hear the whole question again, real quick.
No, you raised your hand, so I stopped asking.
I know,
Oh, we're
let
just
me
so
hear the first
excited.
part of
Come
it.
on.
Okay. Speedball's powers and identity are changed to what character?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. I didn't. Okay.
Are you gonna rage text me after this is over?
No, I'm happy for Alex. We're good.
All right.
I'm behind. This is my dramatic comeback.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I like it.
What side was Hulk on during Civil War? Darren.
Cap.
Brad.
Well, wait, hold on. This is a trick question.
Outer
Did you
space.
say me?
Yeah, Brad.
He was neutral, right? Wasn't he like
Yeah.
off planet already?
He was.
No, he wasn't even
exiled.
there, right?
Yeah, I was
He
like,
was-
he's in outer space.
Oh, look
Yep,
at
he
you.
was-
I thought I missed a panel.
All right, so I'm getting 2 rage texts. Alex, we'll see if I'm still in your good graces.
Oh
at
no,
the end.
I
Did Brad
didn't
get that?
answer because I'm like, I didn't think he was in it. So I was like,
Brad got that, right?
Yeah, Brad got that.
All right.
All right. If you were to take all the side stories, all those issues, and put them into trade paperbacks, and this will be whoever guesses closest. How many trade paperbacks comprise all of the Civil War? So everybody gets to do an answer for this.
I'm gonna say 26.
26. Alex?
12.
12. Darren? Darren is
13.
Googling.
He's doing math.
Don't be looking at your phone there.
I don't have no. 13.
I didn't hear you,
I'll
Darren.
go 13.
13? 21. So Brad, you're the closest, man.
Oh, man.
21. And I looked at my collection. I thought I had them all. I'm missing like 10. So I am a big loser. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of that. That's a bunch.
All right, Brad's
Road-
running away with it.
I
He's
knew it
running
was
away with
huge.
it.
I knew it was huge.
So I'll just go through them real quick. Road to Civil War, then Civil War. Then you got Amazing Spider-Man, Frontline, Volume 1 and 2, which actually, Alex, I forgot about that. That was a pretty good series.
It's
Then
it's
you
not bad.
got Iron Man, New Avengers, Captain America, Wolverine, Fantastic Four. Then there's one called the Marvel Universe, which kind of there's a story about Howard the Duck in there, Darren. You got Ms. Marvel, which is the Carol Danvers Ms. Marvel, Punisher War Journal. Then they put Heroes for Hire and the Thunderbolts together into one volume. Then there's War Crimes, which kind of looked at the underbelly of stuff. With Kingpin and the Hood. Then there's X-Men, and then there's X-Men Universe, which is like X-Factor and New Mutants and what they were up to. Then you've got Young Avengers and Runaways. They put that one together. Black Panther. You have the Civil War Companion, and then you have Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Okay,
Great.
you rereading that list just makes me want to go read them all again. That was wow. This was what a great. We should post that on the page. Yeah.
Yeah.
The complete. Yeah. We'll do
Look
that.
in the comments below. Darren will get that taken care of for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alrighty.
so this is the last one. What's everyone's scores? Let's do a recap.
All right, these scores are Alex is up to 3. Brad, you are at 8, and I am at 5. So
Okay, so
There's
it's
where
anybody's
we're at.
game now. Anybody's game. I'm gonna read off different characters, and you're gonna hold up your answer with either A. A is gonna be against registration, and F is gonna be for registration. Okay.
We wrote our paper here. F.
Wait, so it's A
or
and F
A or F. Yes.
against, 4. Got
So
it.
we raise our hands to answer, or we're all gonna answer it?
We'll just hold it up. I'll say the character and like everybody go. Cool? All right, you got your A's and your F's?
My answers ready.
All right.
All right.
Okay. So let's do a practice. Captain America.
This is gonna be tough.
All right. And I can't see anything because they're white. So
Yeah,
you'll just
I
have to
wrote
know
it.
whether you're correct or not.
It's an A.
Okay. I see Alex's is perfect. You all,
All right,
you
hold
all
on,
have
I got a
your
Sharpie.
sketches?
Y'all get a Magna Doodle.
Yeah. I call it an etch-a-sketch. Yeah. Where are your Magna Doodles, guys?
Yeah, aren't you guys recording this in your kids' playroom?
I'm sorry, I thought I had a Sharpie right offhand, but I don't want to go.
It's
look
okay.
for it.
We're-
Hang on one second.
I believe you guys. Everybody in here is good, godly men. We're going to tell the truth.
All right.
Okay. That better, Brad?
I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me.
Yeah.
You can see it through. Okay, that's the best I can do.
That's all right. That's all right. Okay. So A is if they're against registration and F is they're for registration. And I'll say the name and then you just hold it up. So no delay because otherwise you can see everybody else's screen. All right. Cable.
It's an A.
He is against registration. So the A.
Oh,
So wait, everybody who had an A?
No, I didn't.
I did.
All righty.
All right. She-Hulk.
I've been playing. Hang on. Wait.
She-Hulk.
I'm not looking. I have to do this. She is okay.
Yes, for registration. Everybody's correct.
All right. Good job, team.
All right.
On Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, on Ultimate Alliance 2, it's all pro registration and anti, so it would be P and A. So I have to,
Yeah.
I've got to decipher it in real time, you know.
Okay. Well, P looks like an F. You just connected.
True.
All right. Songbird. Songbird is for registration.
I missed that one, didn't I?
So Brad and Alex. All right. Few more. We got, I love the magnet. Okay. Next one, we've got the Falcon. Falcon. A. Very good. Everyone's correct. All right. Next character, one of Andy's favorites. Sentry. The Sentry with his luscious locks. All right. Sentry is for registration. So we have Darren and Alex. All right. This is a team up person. We got Dagger. Is Dagger for or against registration? She's against registration. So that'd be Brad and Darren. I remember when this series was out, I got all my Marvel Legends that I had, and I set them up like the fors and against, and anyone else I didn't know, so I just assumed they would be or they
They were
would
just
be.
dead in the middle,
Just
right?
presumed with Cloak and Dagger, with Cloak being anti, it had to be for somehow. Like, split them up.
All right. For or against? Storm. She is against. Very good. Everyone is correct. All right, next one, we've got Black Widow. Black Widow, where was she? Was she for or against? She was for.
Oh
She's
man.
with Alex. Alex was correct. She joins up with the Mighty Avengers after this.
Yeah, 'cause she's a commie.
Dang.
All right, the Wasp. Which side was Janet on? Was she for registration or against registration? She was for registration. So Darren and Alex got a point. These are tough, man. There were so many characters and trying to
Yeah.
remember their allegiances.
Yeah.
Okay, For or against, we've got Hercules.
That's the first character that you've talked about so far that I care about.
And Storm. Hercules against.
Good
Against.
job.
So that was an all skate. Everybody got that right. Okay, we got 5 more, so it's anybody's game still. Bishop, was he for or against? He was for
That's
registration.
right. Cable was.
Oh
Oh,
wait, did you miss that one, Alex?
yes, I got it
All
wrong.
righty. Just making sure. thanks.
Alex, we were just talking about the X-Men
I know.
book.
The talks in the front yard.
Well,
Yeah.
the first question was Cable, and I got that one wrong. So I was like, well,
Switch it up. All right, 4 more. Wonder Man, for or against?
Oh, man.
Wonder Man was for registration. So Brad and Alex. All right, 3 more. Sabra. Sabra. The mutant hero,
What
Sabra.
was it?
Sabra. Sabra.
Saber. You know what? I don't know, and I saw his A before I voted, so I'm just gonna take the.
Well, he might be wrong too. That doesn't
could be
matter.
wrong.
It's your guess.
Yeah, what do you think?
I was gonna guess that they were against, but
Well, you're all wrong. She was for registration.
Well, see,
Yeah, that was
hey,
my guess.
I get.
I just throw somebody in there.
That was super like E-level hero.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, okay.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, she's the Israeli superhero. She hung out with the X-Men during Operation Zero Tolerance.
Okay.
Look her up.
Okay.
Say so, Jared.
All right. Luke Cage, for or against? Against. Excellent. Everyone is correct. And last one, Nick Fury. Was he for or against? See a whole lot of him. He was against.
I didn't know, and I thought, you know what, it'd really turn things around if he wanted it to be. So I just like,
I had to think about that one. The only way we know that is because he's the one that set them up with their secret shield base. It was something that what level clearance a shield agent has. It's something crazy. And then they're asking Cap, well, who has that? And Cap just says Nick Fury. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Darren, did you keep score for
I
us?
did. Let me count them up real quick.
Okay. I'm going to look up Sabra for you.
yeah, dude.
Operation Zero Tolerance right here. You know, I hate dead air. How do you guys not know Sabra? Do you guys not read? There she is. Look at her. Is she on the cover? She's not on the cover, but
Okay, so here are the scores. Say,
Oh yeah, there's
I don't remember her at all.
Jared, talk again, so it becomes your screen.
oh, Sabra. This is Sabra right here. You can
Yeah.
see her.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Darren, what you got, man?
This was a really good game, and Alex really came back towards the end. Alex and I both wound up with 15. Brad, you beat us 17 by 2. What a great game.
Whoa, good
Yeah,
game.
hey. Our
Good job,
second
guys.
episode, B2B winner, Civil War trivia, Brad Allen. All right.
Yes. Your no prizes in the mail.
Yeah. No, we'll send something. Just keep waiting.
I'm up to 3 victories. Do I get something when I get to 5? Is that
I think you should.
We
Our
already gave
plan
you a
was-
trading card. Like, actually,
want?
by the way, Alex, since this is your
I
second
have them
appearance,
all, but that's fine.
your trading card immediately goes into production.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
yes.
what's your favorite Marvel characters? Which one would you like to be?
Well, John didn't give anyone else a choice.
Yeah, you can.
Oh
just,
yeah, we better just let Coughlin pick it.
You want to know?
Work on
You
that
want to
one.
know? It's from the Initiative, and it's that kid Boulder, that fat kid Boulder from the Initiative. I love that guy.
I have a feeling Coughlin will like drawing this one. All right.
Well, Brad, the plan is we're going to take a look at all the trivia winners from all of our shows once we get a big enough group, and we'll put everybody in a hat, pull one out and we'll have a M6P prize pack with some fun stuff in there. But we just want to make sure it's a big enough pot before we get it going. Yes. So if you want to know who else won, check out the other back to book videos or the MCU versus M6P videos. Check out our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, all the socials under the M6P. Look us up on TeePublic for some fun shirts.
Oh, wait, that's not ours.
Check out the marvelousbox.com for some fun books. And until next time, make yours the M6P.